Making a sourdough starter is easy. There are plenty of tutorials like this one online from Little Spoon Farm. All you need is a clean jar, a kitchen scale, flour, and water. In order to create a good starter, you need lots of natural yeast to be already in the flour. For that reason, we use whole wheat flour or an organic, unbleached, all-purpose flour, something like that. It doesn't matter what brand of flour you use, but a flour like this that is bleached and pre-sifted and enriched won't have enough natural yeast to make a good starter. All you have to do is mix equal parts by weight, flour and water, in a clean jar. Use a rubber band or a piece of tape to mark what level the jar is filled to. And then you wait. After a while, depending on the temperature, how much time, it'll get bubbly and it'll start to grow in size. Most likely, unless the temperatures were unusually warm, your starter still looks like this after 12 hours. At this point, you want to dump out half of what was in the jar. You can either throw this away or set it aside. Then you want to feed your starter again, equal parts flour, water, stir up, and of course, wait. With a little bit of patience, and if you remember to discard and then refeed your starter every day for 4 or 5 days, you'll end up with a nice, active, healthy culture of yeast, just like this. But what about all that discard I threw away every day? You don't have to throw that away. You should save it, set it aside, and use it to bake with. There's a million things that you can bake with sourdough starter discard. On just this one website, there's 39 recipes for things you can do with sourdough starter discard. I tried this recipe and made my own sourdough pretzels. I tried this recipe and made my own English muffins. I cut them square because it seemed like a waste to cut them into circles. And I made this biscuit recipe and I added extra garlic to it, and man, it was delicious. Just look how moist and delicious the insides of these biscuits look. There are plenty of other websites online with great recipes for sourdough and sourdough discard. Today I'm going to show you how to make pizza from this recipe from Little Spoon Farm. Most good recipes require you to weigh out the ingredients for better ratios, so be sure you have a kitchen scale. This recipe only calls for flour, water, sourdough starter, olive oil, and salt. After you weigh it out, you just throw it all in the bowl. You mix it up with your hands thoroughly until it all comes together, as you can see here. Then you cover it up and you just let it sit on your counter all night long. The next morning, all you have to do is stretch and fold the dough one time, cover it, and put it in the fridge until you're ready to use it to make pizza. When you're ready, get the dough out of the fridge and then roll it out onto a floured surface, dividing it into portions as you would want for pizza crusts. This makes 4 or 5 small pizzas, or it could make 1 or 2 big pizzas. I tend to divide mine up so that I have some crust in the freezer to use later, and so that I can make 1 pizza now. It's important to preheat the oven, and it's really nice if you have a pizza stone to cook on. Now it's time to cut up and assemble all of your toppings. Lately I've been using unconventional things like smoked white cheddar, smoked Gouda, and all fresh vegetables. I haven't even bothered with spaghetti sauce or pizza sauce. But altogether, I've come up with some really delicious pizzas. You assemble it, you put it in the oven, and you bake it. After it's baked for a little while, I usually use the broiler to crisp it up on top. And look at these delicious pizzas. Who could ask for anything better than that? Now that we've covered what to do with the leftovers or all this discard, we can talk about what to do after you have a nice, healthy, week-old sourdough starter. Now you can bake bread. So far, I've tried out 2 different bread recipes, the no-knead sourdough from King Arthur and the country loaf recipe from Little Spoon Farm. Both turned out delicious. Not every loaf of bread comes out beautiful. There's a bit of a learning curve in learning how to cut them and bake them properly so that they come out looking spectacular. but it really doesn't matter because all of them taste amazing. Really, making bread is worth all the time and effort that it seems to take. The possibilities are endless for the types of things that you can add into your bread and the different types of grains that you could use. The bread that you make will taste amazing. It'll be so much better than what you find in the store. Baking bread makes your house smell amazing. But the best part might just be eating the product. Check out this amazing sandwich.